until a court case one time, and this audio clip is played as
Oh,
liability.
I know. You have to delete it. You gotta have my back.
Why did little Timmy get his toes run over? Oh, Dan said on episode 109 of the ScruffCast, they don't check the boxes.
Yeah, motherfucker. We're gonna take it up a few notches right now. See if y'all can keep up. Wanna give a motherfucker sucker, put your hand up.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 109 of the ScruffCast. I'm Jon.
And I'm Dan.
And you know what? I'm feeling... I don't know how I'm feeling. I was going to say I'm feeling good this week.
I was about to say, but with the long drawn out pause there, it didn't bring any positive, reinforcement. This is going to be any good.
Yeah, I backpedaled immediately. I wonder if
I'm feeling. I don't know actually.
I wonder if our new listener returned again this week. Probably not.
Oh yeah, it's probably a one and done. That's okay though.
Well, they didn't send us an email, so we don't know if they're still sticking around. Listeners,
That's
I know
true
you get
too.
shy. I know it can be intimidating, but write in to scruffcast@gmail.com and let us know what you guys think.
That's right.
Give us your queries, your questions, your comments.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
How's everybody's coronavirus life going on? How's everybody doing? Everybody's hanging in there.
It's been a long time. We're over coronavirus. The weather's too nice.
Yeah. It's too nice out. You know what I did last week? I went to a patio.
Oh, very nice.
I did it, yeah. I did it. Went to this place called El Jefe in Port Credit. Fantastic. The place is awesome. Worth checking out for sure. But
Very nice.
we did that. It felt like a little bit of normal. It was nice.
I went to a patio at Turtle Jack's.
Nice.
It was all right. Service was a little slow. I imagine they have limited staff, like back in the kitchen and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But just getting that little, like you said, that little feel of normalcy,
That's what it is, right? You're just like, I feel like things are a little bit normal. Like for that, hour and a half you're sitting there, it's like, you know what? Everything's just normal in the world.
It's bizarre because that first month, like March, April, everyone was like, we can't go anywhere. Coronavirus is out there. This shit's scary. People are dying. It's crazy. And we weren't even wearing masks at the time, right? Like in the very beginning. And then after a month or so, nothing's really changed. Coronavirus is still out there. But people are just like,
Screw it. Yeah.
I don't know anyone that's got it. So, it's just a numbers thing.
You know what, though, man? Masks are all the rage these days. There's people accessorizing the masks. Like, there's some women at work that wear certain masks with certain, nail polish and stuff like that, man. It's intense.
That is a little much. Do you have to wear masks at your work?
Yeah, we do. It's mandatory inside public places, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
I work from the comfort of my own home.
Right
here in the studio, so.
Yeah, we're mandatory now. But I did get myself a fancy new mask, a Toronto Maple Leaf mask.
Oh, very nice. I just went with a nice, plain, solid-colored Old Navy mask.
Oh, Old Navy. So, everybody sells masks now. Why
Pretty much everybody. Dude, even Dollarama sells masks.
Yeah, everybody's selling the masks these days, man. I can't blame them. That's why I told my boss. I was like, man, get our logo plastered on a mask and hand these things out. It's free advertising. People are going to walk around with it on their face.
Yeah, that's true.
It's obvious. Because it dawned on me. I'm at work the other day. This is last week or whatever. And I saw two people come in with Canadian Tire masks. One of them had a big logo on the side, and the other one had a smaller one. But I was like, Jesus Christ, this is a walking advertisement for free. Just hand these things out, and that's it.
Look at the power of that ad. It went from them wearing it to you noticing to you talking about it on the podcast.
I know. Look at that.
Spread.
Now we're giving it more free advertising.
That's not a bad idea. But yeah, pretty much everywhere's selling them now. And like you said, in a lot of places they're required. And there's a lot of debate, right? People say whether or not they're actually that effective, or they're more effective at preventing if you have COVID from spreading it to other people versus protecting you from other people getting it.
Yeah. But if everybody wears it,
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So it's it's not that big of a
it does its job. Yeah.
big of a deal. Just put it on. Plus, it's kind of, You don't have to, it's like when you wear sunglasses and you don't have to worry about making eye contact with anybody. It's a similar sort of thing.
So you don't worry about smiling at people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much wearing the mask. It's like,
No.
it's whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. It's just part of the culture, right? Like in some countries, like the culture is just like very heavily into wearing masks. A guy I work with is from Korea, and this was a couple years ago. I remember he had like a cold and he came into work, but he was wearing a mask because it's just part of the culture, right?
He's from South Korea, right?
Yes. Yeah. We don't have any people from North Korea at our work.
Oh, well, true. Well, he could have been, from somewhere else in Asia. There's a lot of countries over there.
Yeah. No, I said Korea.
Oh, I thought you just said Asia. Well, it shows how well
but it is a heavily like those Asian countries culture where the masks are more prevalent.
No, he's actually from North Korea. He escaped. He made it out.
Dude, I would get him on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's just like a thing, right? You don't want to spread it to other people. It's almost like a decency thing, right?
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
The cultures there are totally different. Like I've heard in Japan, they rarely even have like garbage bins outside. People just keep their trash with them and throw it out when they get home. Like people don't litter there.
There was a story where they were doing like some World Baseball Classic in Japan. And was it Japan?
I think it was a World Cup here. Or not here, somewhere in Europe. And it was America played Japan or something like that.
Was that okay? Anyway, yeah. And so the fans, the Japanese fans, because here at a stadium, you just leave all your garbage on the ground, right? And the Japanese fans stayed behind and cleaned up all the American people's like garbage.
It's just part of the culture, right?
Yeah, that's just what they do, right? They take their garbage home.
Well, so I hope everyone's holding up out there.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some emails, shall we?
We shall. We had 2 listeners write in this week to scruffcast@gmail.com, just like you guys can. First email, subject line is Dodge Caravan. Hey, Scruffcast. Hope you both are doing well. And also, hope fellow listeners Chris and Tiff get their power back soon.
I'm going to assume they did.
I'm going to assume as well.
I didn't confirm it 100%, but I'm pretty sure they did.
Wanted to say again, good job to Taryn for covering for Dan, and a happy belated birthday to Anna. Oh, you are too nice, listener.
Thank you, Ian. I'll pass the message along.
Catching up on some episodes, just wanted to provide some fact-checking in regards to Eurovision from a few episodes back. Number 1. Eurovision typically invites other nations to participate. I'm pretty sure Israel and China both participated in it before. Interesting. Yes. Number 2. Yes, Celine Dion is a Canadian who won it. Oh, I didn't know she won. However, a country can hire a singer from a different nation as long as the country's natives write the full song and lyrics. The country Celine Dion was representing was Switzerland. Okay, that I didn't know.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can write the song and then you can sort of
get anyone to perform it.
Yeah, see if you can convince somebody.
Interesting.
Well, I guess it worked out because apparently Celine Dion won. The third point here about Eurovision. I don't follow Eurovision. A salesperson came in at work trying to sell sponsorships for Eurovision and went into detail about it, which dragged me through the rabbit hole of Wikipedia later on. Oh, okay. Just giving us the fact of how you learned about it.
Right.
Interesting. Please don't change the intro/outro music with 3 exclamations. Now, this time, I'm not going to say it's a grievous error. I'll permit it because it shows the passion with which this listener likes our current intro.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah, I like that. I don't have a problem with the exclamation marks anyway. It's just cute.
Yes. It's more the question marks that drive me nuts, but
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
How about question mark and exclamation marks? Like rapid fire, like one after another, like 10 of each in a row. Kind of thing.
10 of each is absurd. 1 of each is fine.
Okay, fair enough.
I actually kind of like that because it's like you're asking a question, but you're like, like it's so preponderous. Yeah. Is that a word? Preponderous? I don't know.
All right. Well, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you can tell we did change the music. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just putting John on the spot because, like, obviously we haven't edited this yet, so I just wanted him to be like, oh, no, now I got to find new music.
I know. It kind of threw me for a loop there for a second. I was like, what?
No.
Maybe one day, but...
Why? It was just a suggestion. That was it. All I needed was one person to be like, no, and that was it. That's all I needed.
Yeah, who knows? The next email could be like, hey, it's me, Pat Ernst. Change that shit. You don't have my copyright anymore.
That's true, too. We could, yeah. He could get it cut out. Nah, he won't.
So he says, please don't change the intro outro music. That build up with you guys saying crazy shit is always great, especially when the beat kicks in.
Well, okay. Thank you.
Since there's no top 5 this week, I wanted to ask how each of your summers are going. Are they vastly different than what you were expecting going into it earlier in the year? Are there any bueno and no bueno moments so far? Keep up the good work and hoping you guys don't get the creepy white cargo van for the fans.
Am I missing something here?
Well, last week we talked
What's it a
about
reference
how
to?
all of our listeners could fit into a Volvo station wagon, and we're hoping to grow the show up to town and country levels. So you said we couldn't afford the town and country.
How don't I remember that?
That's probably why the subject line was
Literally
Dodge Caravan.
spoke about it. Like, how did I not remember that? Anyway.
So, how's your summer been going, Dan?
I mean, as good as it can go, I guess. Just trying to. You know what? How many times we mentioned this before? As soon as the golf course opened up, things started to feel good for me. So I'm able to do that. And that's pretty much all I do in the summers anyway, is just kind of golf, right? Little things here and there. But that's the main part of my summer as it is. So in that respect, things are going pretty good. John?
I agree. Is it different than I was expecting? Not really. Similar to you, golfing's probably the biggest sort of outdoor thing that I do. I mean, obviously, this sort of work from home shift is different than I was expecting. I don't mind work from home. It does kind of get it is a bit of a downer spending a lot of time inside once the weather is nicer.
Yeah.
And I kind of cut back. I don't go for walks as much as I used to. Got to get back into that.
The only thing that was different than expected going into this year is we had a ton of wedding stuff to do this year. Not for us, obviously, but for friends, like weddings and bachelor parties and stags and whatnot. And it's all canceled, obviously. So that freed up a lot of time this summer. So we're actually supposed to be at a wedding this past weekend. That was supposed to be a good friend's wedding, and it's not happening. So next year.
Next year, the year of the weddings.
Next year, the year of the weddings. Oh, boy.
Are there any bueno and no bueno moments? I'll tell you what's no bueno. So at the very beginning of the year, we did one of our top 5 was top 5 things you're looking forward to in 2020.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things didn't end up happening. Olympics didn't happen. The Euro Cup, or was it World Cup, didn't happen. I think it was Euro Cup.
Right.
Didn't happen. Christopher Nolan's new movie, Tenet.
Oh, yeah.
Got just indefinitely delayed. I was looking forward to that. So it just got shelved out. So that's a bit of a no bueno. I'd say a bueno, though. Yeah. My number 1 was the next generation of video game consoles. The PS5 and Xbox Series X were supposed to launch later this year. And apparently those are still on track. So we shall see. So I didn't lose everything. Good. That from my list.
Gotta have a little something,
Yes. Now, we almost lost our annual golf trip.
We almost did.
Which that would have been a major no bueno. But thankfully, it's still on. Otherwise, we would just been having a mental breakdown next week. And you guys would.
Oh, yeah.
You would tell.
Well, I told Anna, I said, you know what? If that golf trip's canceled, it's going to be a hard year for all of us in this house because I am going to be miserable. But yeah, what's great? A week from right now, we'll be there. Oh, I can't wait. A week from this moment. This is Monday. We record on Mondays. A week from now, we'll be there. And a week from when you're listening to this, we'll still be there probably.
Depending on how late you listen.
Yeah. I can't freaking wait. All right. Move on to the next email.
That was really bueno or no bueno off the top of my head.
No, I can't really. Yeah. Everything's been.
Thanks for writing in, listener.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Next email. Subject is discussion topic. I like that you've been able to spice things up on the podcast. I love the top 5, but I also like that you don't need it to still put out an entertaining episode. Something that I sometimes forget how to do is my signature. At work, I sign a lot of documents, and at times I stop halfway and think about how to continue signing my name. You know what's funny is it's just when I read this earlier, it reminded me of so at work we have a tow motor or forklift, right? So we have forklift checklists that we have to complete every single day to make sure the forklift's running properly. Which obviously we don't do that. You know what I mean? Obviously we just check off all the boxes and not actually check the machine. So
until a court case one time, and this audio clip is played as liability.
Oh, I know. You have to delete it. You got to have my back.
Why did little Timmy get his toes run over? Oh, Dan said on episode 109 of the ScruffCast, they don't check the boxes.
I know. So anyway, with the whole COVID thing going on, we are super short staffed. I never had time to even like go and go over that check the box. So I was like 3.5 months behind. I had to go and
Of a
like
daily thing?
back do. Yeah, so each
That's a lot of
day
signatures.
has 34 check marks that you have to
Oh,
put
God.
in and then sign off on each one, right? So I had to do them for all of them. And like halfway through, like I'm doing them and doing them, like halfway through, I forget how to do a check mark. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh man, how do I make the motion of a check mark here? I had to like stop and think about it for a second. It was so weird. It just kind of reminded me of that. Okay, where was I? I wanted your thoughts on when people say everything happens for a reason. Do you believe this to be true? Why or why not? Looking forward to the next episode and keep up the great work.
What do you think, Dan?
You know what's funny? I think this is something I say often, and it's usually just to like get out of conversation, like kind of like deep conversations. If I'm kind of just done, it's like, hey man, you know what to say? Everything happens for a reason. I think I do that from time to time.
I used to kind of think this way, but I don't know. I don't want to say as you get older, like, not even 30. We're close, but not quite there yet.
Not there yet.
But I don't know. I guess I should say over time, I've kind of just swung to the other end of the spectrum. Where I'm like, no.
I
People
control
just
my
say
own
that to
goddamn
make them.
fate.
Yeah, people just say that to make themselves feel better. Oh
Of
no, I
course.
lost my foot in a skiing accident. Well, everything happens for a reason. Maybe if I had that foot, I would have stepped on a landmine and totally died. It's like maybe,
See, like,
but maybe you just lost your foot in a
well,
skiing
maybe,
accident
I
because you
guess.
just smoked into a tree or something. I don't know.
Yes. See, like the way I look at things like this, it's like not so much like everything happens for a reason, but it's like, if you go through some, crappy things or whatever, right? But like in the moment now that you're in after you're over all that stuff, if you're happy, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm happy. And you know what, that whatever I went through then, like, got me to this point where I'm happy. So like it's not really everything happens for a reason, but it's kind of like, oh, I had to go through that crappy stuff to get to the happiness that I'm at now. You know what I mean? To kind of learn from that and then,
Yeah, but maybe it's like I would have been even happier if the crappy stuff didn't happen.
I guess.
Like I'm living
Yeah.
in Indonesia. Okay,
That's that
working
dude, that's
hard.
a pessimistic way to think about things.
Well, that's true. Dude, that's me, right? I'm living in
Oh,
Indonesia, I'm working
God.
hard. I'm building up my business. Let's say it's a local shop that sells rugs or something. Okay.
Okay.
Boom, huge tsunami comes in, wipes out the building, ruins all my life's work. And it's like, well, everything happens for a reason. Maybe one of those rugs would have had asbestos on it and I had died.
But you know
Insane.
what though? It's like ignorance is bliss a little bit, right?
Oh, I'm definitely a big proponent of ignorance is bliss. And
Oh,
you know what
dude,
the perfect example is of it? Whenever you find a spider in your house. Because I'm like, dude, you've probably been there for like well over a week and I didn't know you were there. If I
yeah,
didn't
man.
look, then you would have been chilling there. Nothing really changed. Now I just know. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to squish this guy. Get out.
All right, John, are you taking the red pill or the blue pill?
What exactly does each pill give me again?
The Matrix.
You'll
The
have to
Matrix.
refresh me. I don't
Okay, so
remember.
the red pill is like knowing. It's like being woke in a sense, right? Like knowing everything. And the blue pill is essentially just like ignorance is bliss. Like you don't know the true reality of things, right? You just live this like kind of like ignorant life to everything that's actually going on. Or do you want to know everything and know like be exposed to absolutely kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly?
It's tough because I think like the kind of person I am, I always kind of want to know, but you would just be happier with that blue pill. Ignorance is bliss.
No, dude, I'm taking the blue pill. Okay, so like say someone comes to you and you know what I mean, Matrix style is like there is like stuff behind the scenes that you don't know about. If you take this red pill, you'll know everything, but it'll change your life. Or do you take the blue pill and just continue doing what you're doing, but also having that thought in your head that like well, no, I forget I said that part. Just taking the blue pill and just living that ignorance is bliss life.
Oh, then blue pill all the way. Because
Dude,
the red pill
blue
will only
pill
just
me,
it will
baby.
ruin things you already like.
I know, dude. I'm never taking that red pill.
It's like think of like, oh man, I love watching this actor's movies. Kevin Spacey, he seems like a great guy. And then, dude, all that shit was going on behind the scenes. It was still the same Kevin Spacey, but then once you find out, you're like, I can't even watch these movies.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
blue pill me, baby.
I'm with you on that one. It's nice to know, but it comes at the cost of happiness. Because
For
by
sure.
knowing more, Yeah, it's not going to make you happier. It's just going to ruin more things. The more you dig into stuff, the more things get ruined. That always happens. You never dig into something and go, "Oh, that's kind of neat. Now I appreciate this more." It's always the opposite. It's
It's
like,
very rare. It's like, God damn it! Why did I look that up?
yeah, it's like, damn, this is a tasty chicken sandwich. What is this coming? Chick-fil-A? And then you look them up, you're like, ah,
They don't like gay people. No, of
no, I
course
can't eat
not.
the chicken. I've never had Chick-fil-A. I've heard it's good.
Neither have I. No, but
But yeah, no, that's a good question.
yeah.
Something of a similar sort of vibe. Do you believe in or what are your thoughts on the sort of butterfly effect, right? Where the one little change, sort of the butterfly flaps its wings and then it propagates the change out there.
I mean, I feel like it kind of has to be a thing, right? I
Yeah,
think
I'm a big
so. I
believer.
think I'm pretty sure it's like I feel like there's almost no other way for it to work, right? Like if I just said to you, if I texted you before this podcast and was like, man, I'm not really feeling like I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm not going to do the podcast, right? I'd go to bed at a different time, probably wake up at a bit different time, and like the timeline would completely change of like my life in a sense, from that
Yeah.
moment on.
You can sort of view it in like almost two different ways, right? So an example I always think of is when I was in elementary school. I don't remember the grade. I was fairly young though, because I remember my dad was picking me up from school.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have what they called the terribly named kiss and ride lane at school.
Yes.
Okay. Where, because you drop your kid off, give him a kiss goodbye, and they get out. I don't know why they called it this, but
Yeah.
terrible name. And right next to that was a school bus lane. So, or I think it was the school buses were ahead. So the school bus was parked. I went to go walk in front of the school bus, and then somebody zoomed by in the kiss and ride lane. And it's like, had I been, I don't know, 2 feet ahead, I probably would have got hit by this car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this is an example that I always think of. It's now, had the entire day gone differently, I would have been 2 steps ahead. I would have got hit by that car. Or is it just, from the time I left, had I just walked faster or slower? Right? It depends on how deep you want to dive into. It's like, maybe I got up that day and I was in a bad mood. And then, because then I got to school later and then that set off this whole other chain of events or whatever.
Yeah. Because you know what they say, man, everything happens for a reason.
That's what they say. That was a sick way to tie it all back in.
Was it?
That's what we do on the ScruffCast.
Bam. Ba-bing, bang, boom. Oh, I wrote something in the notes I wanted to talk about, by the way. Did you see? So, we talked about Jeffrey Epstein on here before, right? Like we talked about his little documentary and stuff like that on there.
Yes.
How the guy's like absolutely crazy. So did you hear the newest thing? So his his ex-wife or no, his ex-girlfriend, whatever she was, that what was her name? Giselle?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, Ghislaine. So she got arrested like last week or whatever. Right now she's like going to be on trial. So the person who got no, sorry, it had nothing to do with her. There was a person who got
it was like a civil suit of some sort.
I think it had something to do with like money laundering and stuff like that. And there was a judge appointed to look into it 4 days ago. And just last night, I think it was, a FedEx driver or someone dressed as a FedEx driver knocked on her door, killed her son, and tried to kill her husband, but, didn't succeed in doing so. He's still alive. And then they found the suspected killer. He killed himself afterwards.
I heard about this.
Dude.
So I first heard the original story and like yesterday. And then today I heard that the shooter also killed himself. And I was like, okay, this is some fishy stuff.
This is a bit of the red pill leaking out, man, into our blue pill lives. I don't like it. Dude, like it's even like you hear all this stuff with Wayfair, how they're trafficking kids and stuff.
Oh, yes, dude. Okay.
Dude,
yeah.
What the heck is going on, man?
Terrence
I just want to live in a blue pill life. I want to hear trafficking kids in cabinets. Come on. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah, Terry first told me about this. She said, "Oh, did you hear about Wayfair?" And I'm like, "Oh, so I guess we can clue in the listeners who haven't heard about this." I'm like, "Oh, like the furniture company?" She said, "Yeah, apparently they're being accused of child trafficking." I'm like, "Oh, that's bizarre." She said, "Yeah, there's like all these expensive cabinets on there." So I was reading a little bit more about it. Basically, on Wayfair. Now, I don't know. I haven't gone on the website, but you only ever see screenshots, and that's the thing with the internet, right? It's just screenshots of stuff. And I'm like, well, how do I know this is real? I don't want to just assume everything's fake, but you never know, right? Things just spread out all over the place. So there are all of these, I'd say regular looking like cabinets or storage units.
They're just like industrial like cabinets. Yeah.
but they're priced extremely high. Like,
$15,000.
and they all have very bizarre names. And those names, like, so I'll just have the first name of something, right? Like, I don't know, we'll call it like John, for instance, or Dan, right? First name. And that's the name of this cabinet. And then the names match up with reported cases of missing persons.
Yeah. And then there's like this whole thing with like that Russian search engine. What's it called? Like Yandex or something like that?
Yandex, yeah.
Yandex. And there's like, if you type in like, the SKU number for those products and you put it into the thing, there's like pictures of little girls that show up on the thing. Dude, it is wild and it's weird, man. There's a lot going on that we don't know about.
You're right. But I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, so I guess the idea behind this is if people are interested in, participating in this like sex trafficking ring, they
Yes.
purchase these cabinets in quotes here. I don't know if they actually get cabinets,
I
but they're
wouldn't
really
say so.
purchasing these people that have been, I
Kids,
don't
yeah.
know, abducted or stolen or whatever. But the thing that I can't wrap my mind around is if you were running this, illegal ring, why would you use the real names?
Yeah,
That's
I
the most
know.
bizarre part that I don't understand.
That's what I was arguing about. I was arguing with this about somebody. I was arguing about this with someone too. And I was like, but then they were saying like, oh yeah, but it's like so it's in plain sight that nobody would even think about it. I was like, yeah, but when it's something this serious, you'd be a little more discreet. You know what I
You
mean?
would take every precaution. You would just, I don't know how you communicate with your clients, right? But you just say, hey, search up the SKU numbers.
Exactly. Bing bang
Simple
boom
as
done.
that. Yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
strange.
it's the whole thing's wild, man. It's like that Pizza Gate too. You heard about that one, right? You heard
Yeah,
about
I
Pizza?
think that's like some deep conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah,
I don't exactly know the details, but it's like some pizza store somewhere that thought there was like some sort of, again, a trafficking ring running out of the basement of some pizza shop or something.
And there's like words that politicians use and stuff like that that apparently relate to something else. Like, oh, linguine means like a butt or something like that. I don't know. It's like something like that. That one's like a little like far fetched, but like it also kind of ties into this Wayfair thing a little bit. But like reading that Wayfair thing, I was kind of like, oh man, this this
There was
seems
a lot
like
of links.
yeah, there was a lot of links, right? But obviously you can I don't know. Well, what do they call it? It's something like what is it? Confirmation bias. That's what it is.
Yeah, where you're sort of looking to confirm what you already
You're
believe.
what you already believe, right? So it's like it's hard not to have that. Because you hear this, like, oh man, this is pretty crazy. And then the more you read about it, you're like, yeah, I knew it, I was right. But like, I'm sure there's lots of evidence going against it too, and like, it just seems like too out there in the open, you know?
So so I know I said about how I thought it was weird how they'd use the real names, but one thing I thought about as well is that watching that Jeffrey Epstein documentary is
Mhm.
that dude, he just had his like Palm Beach, was it Palm Beach? His mansion, and he was just soliciting all these underage girls and stuff, just totally in this community, right? Well, he's
Yeah,
got neighbors and stuff, and he's got like young girls coming over all the time. So he had that sort of like invincible feeling, or he's like, they're never gonna.
right.
So I could see how maybe these people were, again, assuming this entire thing is true, which I mean, you would hope it's not because you don't want these people being trafficked around as these
Of
cabinets.
course, yeah.
But maybe it's a similar sort of thing where they're like, they're just cabinets. Nobody's gonna really dig in and ever find us. They're just cabinets. So it could be that
Yeah.
same sort of feeling, right?
Oh man, it's wild the whole thing. But this Jeffrey Epstein thing, like going back to it, it's crazy, man. And like this is oh man, this goes deep. This is like within the governments that they're having these people killed and all this stuff, man. Because like Jeffrey Epstein could have ruined, I think, a lot of people.
That's what they
And
say.
all of a sudden he hung himself. Like, get out of here! No, he didn't.
I was reading this thing. I think it was started from a thread I read on Twitter, linked somewhere else. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically in regards to conspiracy theories. The more things you need to conspire about, the less likely it is something needs to be true. So what they were talking about in this specific case was whether or not Epstein killed himself.
Yeah.
And people were like, okay, let's say he didn't kill himself. There's three options. Either he killed himself, somebody else killed him, or he's still alive. He's not even dead. And then went
Okay.
through the three options. It's like, okay, the most likely option, let's say he killed himself, you don't have to conspire anything, right? That's just
Yeah.
what happened. If you say somebody else killed him, then you got to conspire. Okay, they got to fake the deaths, or no, they got to deal with getting rid of the guards. You got to deal with the way of death. You got to deal with eliminating the evidence, blah, 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 covering up. The other option was he's still alive. Then you got to deal with, okay, faking the death certificate, replacing the body with someone else's body. All these things, the more sort of
Becomes a lot more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, the less likely something is to be true. But yet, there's still something tantalizing about feeling like it just doesn't add up. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, there is now, whether it's, these crazy conspiracies or not, there is a higher layer of stuff, that red pill stuff that doesn't come into our blue pill lives, like you said.
Yeah.
Right? Like things we don't know about. And it's not necessarily always these like nefarious things, right? It could just be a whole bunch of stuff. Because sometimes you find out about stuff. It's like, I'm trying to think of a good example where you're like, wow, I had no idea this was the way something worked. Or it's like a whole system behind the scenes or something. But I can't think of the example I had in mind.
You know who's living the pure blue pill life? Is Jaime.
Yes.
Jaime, man. Jaime's living that blue pill life, and I am envious. I'm going to get off the internet.
Go off the grid.
Yeah, I'm going to go off the grid just like him. And you know what? All he wants to know is how old Val Kilmer is. That's all he ever cares about. You know?
Yeah.
That's that's the deepest dive into the internet he goes.
He just wants the facts. He's like,
Yeah.
I forget. I used to know this, but I forget.
Imagine he's got Google Home now, and he calls you one day, John. Hey, João, have you heard of this Epstein fella? You heard of Wayfair?
Oh my goodness, he's like, I can't imagine him being like, what the heck are they talking about? $10,000. Who spends $10,000 on a shelf? I built this one myself. It's $50. It's perfect. I put everything on the shelf and never falls off.
$15,000 on a kid. You want a kid? You just have one. You don't have to pay for it.
Dude, that's the blue pill life, right? You just
The blue pill life, man.
that ignorance is bliss. I've still yet to set up his Google Home Mini. I really need to get around to it, but I'm almost a little afraid it will make me expendable. Then he won't need me.
Yeah, you'll never hear from him again. He's got Google.
I don't need you. Google answers me much quicker. Sometimes you don't even call me back. I thought Val Kilmer was 75 for a few weeks. He's 71. I was a buffoon. I told someone at work.
Stupid I look to my friends.
Yeah, man. Ignorance is bliss.
Is it ever?
That's always what I think every time I find a bug. I go, why? Why did I look
just
over
wish
there?
I didn't know this. Yeah. Oh, I know. All
But
right.
I'll tell you what isn't bliss. Not knowing about the ScruffCast. I like to think everyone who finds out about it, they go, this has enriched my life in every way possible.
Yeah, it's like the most red pill you can get in our blue pill life, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's great to find out about us, but like, we're living the good life here, We're not digging deep into things.
We used to tackle the tough topics all the time.
We
Not as
don't
much
anymore. No way. No.
We're just chill.
Yeah. No interest in those tough topics. Leave those for someone else.
Yeah, we're not here to solve problems. We're just here to kick back, chat with you guys. You're supposed to send us in emails and we talk.
That's it. All right. We got a little surprise for you guys. A top 5.
It been a couple weeks.
It has. Because we didn't do one last week, not the week before. Holy Jesus. And today's top 5 is, that's kind of mostly for us, but I guess that everybody could really answer this with their own thing. It's a top 5 guests we'd want on the ScruffCast.
Yeah, so I guess from our angle, it'd be obviously people we want to converse with on the podcast. From the listener's angle, it'd be who would you want to hear?
Yeah, who would you want to hear us talk to?
Us at scruffcast@gmail.com and let us know. Maybe we'll try to pull some strings.
We will do our best. We've reached out to a few people already. Seal being one of them.
Yes. Yeah, Ian, hit us up with that Seal connection.
Yeah, man. We gotta get Seal on here. All right. I guess I'll kick it off, huh?
Kick it off.
All right. My number 5 is Donald Trump. Now, I don't like him, right? But I just want to he's so stupid. It's mind blowing, right? Where it's like, I want to have a conversation with him and just be like, dude, are you serious? Do you actually believe these things you say? Are you that stupid? The best part is with the ScruffCast, we can do stuff like that, We're not Fox News, pitter-pattering around what we want to say. We can say whatever the hell we want to say.
And we're not on the other side where we're just gonna, freak out about everything. We'll just let you observe the natural goings on,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
spectacle.
Dude, are like really? You're like, are you that dumb? And it's nice. You just call him out like that, right? He's like, oh, I don't know what to say. He doesn't even talk like that. I don't even know why that was the voice I used.
Dude, the craziest thing is if you ever look at like old interviews of him, he used to talk like totally normal, put complete sentences together.
Right.
I don't know what happened.
Dude, he's 70 years old.
Yeah, he is old. But he just if you ever look at like transcripts of what he says, it's so bizarre. Like
It's
his
like
speech
choppy.
patterns.
It's all over
It's
the
like what
place.
happened to him? I don't know. The other thing too, it would be excellent for ratings.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, we would blow up. All right, John.
How's it going? My number 5. I'll put down Elon Musk. Now,
Oh, okay.
it probably could have been higher, but I don't know. He just ended up falling down the list. But he's an interesting guy. I know he's kind of fallen out of favor in recent times, shall we say.
He has, yeah.
But, dude, he's just an eccentric dude. I'd love to just pick his brain, talk to him about whatever it is. He's obviously really knowledgeable about space. He runs SpaceX. And, I don't know, he's a billionaire, so he does other cool shit, I'm sure.
He's
Just a cool dude. Just like to pick his brain.
I thought about putting him on my list, but I find like he's just like a little robotic in a sense. Like, and I've listened to him a couple times on Joe Rogan, and like I kind of listen to that conversation, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I could skip a conversation with him. There's some other people I'd rather have on my list than him. He probably still makes the top 10 for me, but
yeah, I had a hard time coming up with people for the list. Like I had a harder time than I thought, and I know there's going to be people out there I'm going to think of after them.
Of course.
All right, so that was my number 5. Because as much as it is guest house, it's also we would get to have these people here in the studio. We could just hang out,
Ask him whatever questions we wanted to. It'd be fantastic. Yeah, the way I constructed my list is almost more of like of interest. I just want to have a conversation with this person more so than anything. All right, my number 4 is Jim Carrey.
It's a good one.
Yeah, so first off, he's like super funny. He would just make you laugh. And second, he's like, I feel like some people think he's crazy, but I feel like he's like enlightened. You know what I mean? I feel like he's like crossed this bridge of like enlightenment, and like he's just a different being than the rest of us almost,
See, the interesting thing about enlightenment isn't that taking the red pill?
No, not necessarily. Well, maybe a little bit.
Unless you double down on the ignorance. Cut everything out.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's like he took the red pill so we don't have to, but he was able to escape that area anyway. And like
I see. He went and came back.
Yeah. And if you watch interviews with him, he's just like fascinating now. He's not just an actor, he's not just a comedian. Like he's like, I don't know. He's just a fascinating person. Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, man, I think this guy, like, he says it almost kind of like in a joking way, the way he says stuff. But like, I think this guy's a lot smarter than like a lot of people give him credit for,
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are like that, right? It's easy to make fun of people, especially celebrities who seem more outlandish. But I mean, these people don't get where they are for being, by being jabrones.
Exactly. Yeah. So he's like one person I would love to. I'm just so curious to like just hear what he has to say about, many different things.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
My number 4, somebody that I know you're also a fan of. I put Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, this is obviously just, you want to talk about interesting people. Dude, we could just shoot the shit about space. I've listened to him on his own podcast, Star Talk, which is very good. So, and he's been on Joe Rogan a few times as well. So you kind of already know what you're getting. Just an interesting dude.
Yeah, he could guest on here. We could guest on Star Talk. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, a little bit of cross promo. Maybe we'll invite him into our podcast network.
Yeah, of course.
Hit us up, Neil. You know what? I'm gonna follow him from the ScruffCast Twitter.
Please do. All right. My number 3, Dave Chappelle. Now, again, like obviously he's funny. He's like one of my favorite, probably my favorite comedian of all time. Again, he's another person who I feel like is like pretty wise. You know what I mean? And he's an interesting person to get his perspective on like many different things. That's like what a lot of these conversations I'd love to have is like just like man, pick these people's brains because you listen to him, and again, he's another person where it's like, this guy's not just a comedian. He's like a lot, there's a lot more there than what he is. Again, he plays it a lot like off a lot in jokes, but he's a lot smarter than probably seems.
That's what I love. It's like when you find out like one of these people is more genuine than you think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's a great choice. I thought about putting him on my list.
Yeah.
But I didn't put him on. But he would be great. Dave, if you're listening, you can come on the show anytime. All right. My number 3 is also a comedian. I put Eddie Murphy.
Oh.
I love Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Okay? He's been around for a long time. His life kind of slowed down. I mean, this is a guy who's lived a life, right? He was going on national tours when he was like 19, 20. He disappeared, came back. He's still hilarious.
Yeah.
We'd just be laughing it up. Be a good time. That's as simple as that. I just love to sit around and talk with Eddie Murphy. It'd be a fun time.
Yeah, for sure. Of course. All right. My number 2, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I knew it'd be on your list.
Of course, man. Come on. Like, dude, there's almost no one in the world more interesting. I say almost because he's my number 2. Almost no one in the world more interesting. And like, yeah, you could just, dude, I would need like a good year of prep time to like find every single little question I had about space and everything just to be able to ask him, you know?
Yeah, you'd have to really get every minute you could out of it.
He's a fun personality too, right? He's not just like kind of a boring, conversation. Like it'd be a good time overall, right? And plus we get the answers to everything.
Yeah, you have to be pretty entertaining to be able to make a career out of talking about space and science and stuff.
For sure.
Like how many famous astrophysicists are there? Not many.
Yeah.
Or with their own podcast show. Also, I did look it up. ScruffCast already followed him.
Oh, good.
Just to let the listeners know. My number 2. I want to talk about somebody who's lived a life. Jackie Chan.
Oh.
The stories this guy would have. And he's just, I don't know if you've ever watched interviews or anything with him. He's just like a funny, charismatic guy. I'd love to just get to sit down and talk with him. He got the rare Bueno Plus from us long ago.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
I'm sure he'd have plenty of stories from the sets of the various movies he's done. He's getting up there in age. I think
he's in his 60s, 70?
Yeah. But shout out to Jackie.
Shout out to Jackie Chan. All right. My honorable mention is Tom DeLonge, so former guitar player from Blink-182. But again, he's first off, as a kid, I idolized him as a kid. I just loved him, whatever, right? And then he got again, he's one of these people people are like, oh, this guy, he just went crazy. All he does is just try to he thinks UFOs are real. He's just chasing them, blah, blah, blah. We've talked about him before on this podcast because he actually released the footage that the Pentagon confirmed was real about with UFOs and stuff.
But it just got swept under the rug.
Yeah, essentially. And so he's another person that I'd love to be able to get him to actually open up and tell us the things he knows, right? That would be the most interesting because I think he's another person. Apparently, he has a lot of top secret meetings and stuff. That, he can't really tell anybody what's going on, but that's something I would love to hear about.
That was a good one. My honorable mention is Joe Exotic. Dude,
oh,
what a time this guy would be!
Oh my god, that's so good.
Because now I had to put him as the honorable mention because I love using the honorable mention as that curveball. Dude, you just let him talk and talk. You could ask him tons of questions, and he'll go on and on. We want to talk about awesome ratings. I almost feel bad for Joe Exotic because, dude, Tiger King was the hottest shit ever, and then boom, it disappeared. Yeah. No one talks about it anymore.
Dude, I know. It came with a bang and out, and just fizzled right out.
And it's not the kind of thing where it's oh man, Tiger King season 2. It's no, you can't have more Tiger.
That's it. It's over now.
There's supposed to be a live action TV show though. Eventually,
I heard about that, which I will definitely check that out.
But I wonder if it'll be so long after the fact it'll fizzle away. Now, if we had honorable mentions, I would have thrown in Barnett in there. I remember we talked about
Barnett, which takes me to my number 1. No, I didn't. You know what? I totally forgot about him. God damn it! All right, my number 1, Tiger Woods.
Dude, I thought about putting him on the list,
dude,
but he didn't.
There was no one. I mean, it might be because we got the golf fever going right now with the trip coming up, but there was no one I would love to talk to more, just to get into his head, and not even it's not even about golf tips and stuff like that. That's not even what I'm looking for, man. It's I want to know how Tiger did what Tiger did. The intimidation factor he had. It's that kind of stuff. It's not about the way he played. It's just about the way he intimidated other players. His presence, his aura, you know what I mean? The confidence he had out there. It's just scared everybody. And he's one of the most they talk about clutch in sports, He's like one of the most clutch people in any sport. Like just the stuff he pulled off, man. It's incredible. Like
In one of the sports where it's hardest to be consistent, for sure.
exactly, yeah. And he just tore it apart. Like it's just insane. So he's like I think by far my number one. Love to have him on.
I had thought about putting him on the list. He didn't make mine, so I'm glad he still got represented in our top fives. But yeah, I mean, I can't disagree.
Mm.
All right. My number one is Bill Burr. This would be a guy I'd love to sit around and just talk to. I've listened to his podcast before. He's been on Joe Rogan a couple times. You want to talk about a guy that's how we were talking about Dave Chappelle? You said, he's sort of genuine. Bill Burr's like exactly the same way. You listen to his podcast, it's just him. He's just rambling, right?
Yeah.
You can shoot the shit with him. He'll just tell you how like it is.
He like for me, I thought about him. I didn't put him on the list because I feel like he's like too intimidating of like a person. You know what I mean? And like he's very intense. The intensity is like sky high.
Dude, he's more intimidating than
if I can handle
Tiger
it.
Woods. Dude, Tiger Woods intimidating.
No, Tiger Woods is intimidating, but it's like his his persona, his like who he is isn't like necessarily intimidating.
I see
Like
what you're saying.
Bill Burr is like intense. Like he's always kind of like fired up, right? We would also need to bring that energy. And like, we don't do that.
Well, I guess it's like, talking for a living. That's what Bill Burr does. Whereas Tiger Woods plays golf for a living. So it'd be like playing golf with Tiger Woods would be intimidating.
Okay, fair enough. That is true too. Yeah.
So that's kind of what it'd be like.
That's a good point.
Whereas like golfing with Bill Burr, you wouldn't be intimidated, but golfing with Tiger Woods, oh, baby, I'd need a good tee shot. I'd be shitting my pants.
Oh my God. Oh, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, it's true. Because Bill Burr, we're kind of going into his world in a sense, right?
Yeah.
If we're doing the podcast.
It's Bill Burr's world. We're just living in it.
Amen. That's a good one, Bill Burr. All right. There you go.
I know there's people I forgot about, though. There's so many guests I'd love to have. Just really
Well-
anybody who's knowledgeable about like any specific thing would be interesting. That's what that's why my dream would be like having Joe Rogan's podcast. Just invite interesting people on all the time. They just talk about random shit. So, whether it's like weather experts or even the people you've never heard of, right? Like, oh, this guy's an infectious disease expert was one I listened to. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. Well, maybe the listeners out there can let us know the people we forgot. There's got to be some out there we're forgetting. Some real good ones. And let us know yours. Let us know who you'd want on the ScruffCast.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's, let's say you had your own podcast and you wanted guests on or somebody you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Let us know. Do we even need guests?
know.
Are we enough for you guys?
Are we enough?
I like to think so. But in 2020, you never know.
You never know. All right. Email us, scruffcast@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, ScruffCast. Twitter, @ScruffCast.
Our website, scruffcast.com.
Website,
That'll show you everywhere you can listen.
or thescruffcast.com.
You can go on YouTube. Just search for ScruffCast. We don't have an official like youtube.com/ScruffCast. We need more subscribers.
Because we only get 3 views.
Yes. So subscribe on there. Hit the thumb up. Leave your comments on there. Just reach us however.
Smash that like.
Well, we just have this giant net out there just waiting to capture your stuff, whether it's tweets, Instagram comments, slide in our DMs,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. We're on TikTok. We don't post anything, but we're there. We're there.
Maybe
So let
we'll
us
start.
know.
Who knows? All right. Well, that's it. Like I said, by this time next week we'll be golfing. I'm so
Yes.
excited.
Definitely not even thinking about the podcast.
No, never. Alrighty, that was episode 109 of the ScruffCast. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Distracting, got me like, oh, as I'm watching her go. All I'm thinking is, oh, damn, that bad thing. I can tell you're really good at distracting.